presentation on how to declutter your mind. Now, remember, this is a 30-day redemption, and we're doing mind, body, and spirit. And so today is day 8 of the mind segment, and we had some great speakers so far, giving some valuable information on how to kind of keep your mind clear and in the game as far as what's going on in the world, COVID-19, boredom, quarantine. Here is a platform that allows you to have positive content and good content to help get your life together. If it's already together, to improve it, but mainly to give good content to keep everyone inspired from April 1st to April 30th. So thank you for attending, and thank you for supporting the 30-day redemption. And we're going to begin with our presentation. So again, remember, 30-day redemption is about 10 days of mind, body, and spirit. 10 days each. From April 1st to April 10th, we're going to do mind. And so far we have done, this is the 8th day. From April 11th to April 20th, we're going to do body. We have some excellent guests that are supposed to show up for capoeira, for samba dancing, for yoga, for healthy nutritious meals, for natural meds. So please make sure that you register or share so that other people can get this valuable information. And then for 10 days of spirit, we're going to do, I'll surprise you guys, but we're going to have, it's not going to just be a religious discussion. It's going to be just various aspects of spirituality, including tapping into your inner self. We may talk about signs of the times and that type of thing. So make sure you register, make sure you share. So today's discussion is about decluttering your mind for more peace. Very important topic, pre-COVID, post-COVID, during COVID. Decluttering your mind and keeping it clear kind of goes with what we talked about, I believe day 2. I had a discussion on that. What type of things are taking up real estate in your mind without even paying? So we have our guest today, my good friend Angel Richards of Helping Others Transform. Very good friend. Angel is very real, very good at what she does, and very passionate about what she does. And she's going to talk to us about decluttering your mind. She is excellent in this field, and I'm very excited to hear what she has to present. So please welcome my friend, Angel Richards, and she's going to take it from here and help us to declutter our mind.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, Kashab, for that awesome introduction, and I'm very excited to be here. Just what you're doing with this 30-day redemption is amazing. It's something that I am excited to be a part of, but something that I'm also excited to participate in and to learn and receive. And all the speakers thus far have been amazing. So I'm so excited about what's to come. And so today we're going to talk about decluttering your mind. When people hear the word declutter, they automatically go to decluttering the physical space, getting your office together, your car together, your closet together. And although those are really important things, we want our physical space to be clutter-free. We want it to be an environment in which we have peace and we feel good. Most of that physical clutter and all the clutter in our lives is coming from our thought life. So today I'm going to spend quite a bit of time talking about your thought life. So when I teach on clutter and I talk about clutter, I'm really talking about the confusion and the chaos in your life. The confusion and chaos that shows up mentally and emotionally and physically and financially in our relationships, our careers, our businesses. But today we're really going to focus in on that mental clutter. And so the mental clutter that we experience, it's really influenced from the thoughts that we're having, the confusion and the chaos that's happening mentally. Although a lot of that can come from outside sources, family, friends, relationships, the work that we do, the news, society in general, much of the challenges that we're experiencing mentally are coming from our own thoughts, the thoughts that we are formulating in our own minds. And so whenever I talk about clutter today, I really want you to understand that I'm talking about the chaos and the confusion that most times we're creating for ourselves. And we have to be very clear that ownership and responsibility of our thought life is on us. We oftentimes talk about what someone said or what someone did and how it made us feel. Well, the truth is that your feelings are created by your thoughts. So if your feelings are created by your thoughts, it's almost impossible for someone to make you feel any kind of way. They can say a thing, they can do a thing, and then the thought that you have about what they said or what they did then creates the emotion that you feel. And there's something that I teach that is called the thought feeling cycle. And so for every thought that we have, it creates a feeling. And then when we feel that emotion, it creates a new thought, which creates a new emotion. And so it's this thought feeling cycle that continues to go on and on. But today, I want us to extend it out a little bit further and realize that your thoughts not only create the feelings, but those feelings then dictate the words that come out of your mouth. It dictates the actions that you're going to take or not take. And what it does is it ultimately creates the results that you have in your life or your reality. And so I really want you to think about that and take a moment. And I'm going to ask you lots of questions throughout today because I'm a life coach, and coaching is really about questions. It's about you asking yourself the right questions to get to the answers that you already know, that sometimes we suppress, sometimes we pretend we don't know or we're uncertain. And sometimes we just don't know what we know until we ask ourselves the right questions. So I want you to think about your thoughts right now and think about what are they creating? What feelings are those thoughts creating for you? So with COVID-19 happening right now, there's so many things that are going on in the world. I have clients who are struggling financially. They've lost their jobs. I have clients who are now working from home and don't have the substantial internet access that they need. So they're dealing with, tech issues. I have clients who are, struggling with homeschooling their children now. Their kids are not of age where they can say, go log in and do your work. Like my kids, they're having to actually teach lessons. And so they're overwhelmed. They're mentally being challenged with things that they haven't saw in years. So there's a lot going on right now. We have to look at, what are my thoughts creating in my life right now? When we're looking at TV, when we're on social media, when we're being bombarded with all these updates day to day, which I highly encourage you to practice what I call out of sight, out of mind. Not that we're going to totally ignore what's going on in the world, but I think monitoring how much of that you allow in your mental space is important, because remember, your thoughts are going to create your emotions. So if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling sad, a lot of that is coming from the thoughts that are being created by everything that you're consuming and taking in. So they're dealing with a lot of things, and you're dealing with a lot of things as well. And all of that is going to create thoughts in your mind. So I want you to take a moment, and if you don't have pen and paper, grab something to write with. I'm sure you guys probably are doing that every day, because we know that you're learning, you're getting information, but you're also getting insight and inspiration, and you want to capture that every day during this 30-day redemption challenge. So I want you to take a moment, and I just want you to think about, what results or reality are my thoughts creating right now? So if you want to think about the last 7 days, if you want to think about the last few weeks, maybe since this whole pandemic began, or if you just want to think about this year, right? The last 90 days, those thoughts that you've been having regarding yourself, how you feel about yourself, what you think about yourself, your job, your relationships, your finances, your health and wellness, your business, your lifestyle, the thoughts that you've been thinking, what has it manifested? What has it created now as a reality for you? What has it created? I just want you to jot a couple things down. Don't overthink the process. There's no right or wrong answer, right? There's no judgment. We're just being truthful and honest with ourselves to say, you know what I'm dealing with right now is a manifestation of those thoughts that I was thinking at the beginning of the year, right? For example, you may have thought in the beginning of the year, oh, you know what? I'm not going to buy into the whole new year, new me. And I'm not going to create a vision board. And I'm not going to write down a list of 100 goals. And I'm not going to get involved in any of that stuff everybody's doing, everybody's talking about. Because it's not going to work and it's not going to last. And people lose their motivation after, you know, the first 30 days. So I'm just not even going to do that. I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. And if that was your thought process, then maybe right now you're realizing that, you know what? I wish I would have written down some things that were goals for me, because now that we're in, you know, lockdown and we're staying at home and I have a little extra time, I could have had a concrete plan in front of me of things that I could be focusing on, putting my mind and my energy into, right? So if we just look at something like that, it wasn't a big deal months ago, but now we're looking at how could me maybe having a vision board kept me inspired right now, right? How could me having my goals written down, something to look forward to work towards, keep me inspired right now when most of us are feeling all the negative emotions because we weren't prepared for this, right? How about, you know, think about financially. Maybe in the beginning of the year, you were thinking, you know, I'll pay that off later, or, you know, I'm going to pay off all my debts right now and I'll start saving later, or, you know, saving isn't that big of a deal, or maybe I don't make enough to save anything. So I'm not even, you know, $25 a week. What's that? That's not much. So I'm not even going to bother. Now we're looking at, oh, okay, that $25 a week, I might have an extra $500 in cash right now had I done that. Or you know what, maybe not paying everything so aggressively and prioritizing having savings or investments would have put me in a better position, right? Or just even thinking of the thought process on investments. A lot of people say, well, I don't have enough to invest. And now we're like, maybe I should have been investing. So I really want you to take time beyond today's session to think about your thoughts and how they've created a reality that you have right now. Think about that, because all of us have a thought life, and our thought life is always creating and manifesting, whether it's what we want or what we don't want, right? And so I want you to think about that. So I want to talk a little bit about thought drama, because when we create mental clutter, it's coming from the thought drama. And thought drama comes from three places. It's the past, the present, and the future. Okay? The past, the present, and the future. That's where our thought life lies. And the thought drama that we create is in one of those three areas. So let's think about our past. Your past, it highly influences your present if you are focused on certain things from your past. So we all have a past, some good, some bad, some a little bit of both, right? But if our thoughts are always focused on the past from the standpoint of what didn't work, what didn't go right, what we lost, who we lost, if that's where we put our thought life, we're going to create thought drama. We're going to stay in a space where our thoughts and feelings are going through this cycle of what could have been, should have been, what I had, what I don't have, where I could be, where I should be. And when we spend so much of our time thinking about the past from that standpoint, then our present becomes a place where we're unsatisfied. You know, it's a place where we're dissatisfied. It's a place where we're not comfortable. It's a place where we don't feel content, because we're spending so much of our thought life in our past from a negative perspective. Now, some of us are not, you know, thinking that way, because we've already have gotten to a place where we realize that that doesn't work for us, right? We've all done it, but many of us have already realized that doesn't work. So you're thinking about what did work and how can I rinse and repeat that in my life to create the same or better results? What did go right? And how can I stand in a space of gratitude for all the goodness that did occur in my past? What lessons did I learn? And how can I apply those lessons to my life, to my relationships, to my finances, to my career, my business now? You have the option to always think in the direction that you choose. You can think the worst case scenario or best case scenario. You can think about what went wrong or what went right. You could think about what you don't have or what you do have. You could think about everything that has occurred in your past as failure, or you could look at it as feedback, as something that can actually help you as you're moving forward. So that's what I really want you to think about, is how am I looking at my past? And I know you guys may not know me, but I had such a negative perspective of my past. All I could think about is that I was raped, that I was molested, that I was a 2-time teen parent, having a kid at 15, having a kid at 19, that I came out of an abusive relationship with 2 additional children. So now I'm a single mom of 4. I'm on a teacher's salary. I'm not making a lot of money. Why did I switch from nursing to education to struggle? I had all of these things in my past that I held on to. I was abandoned. I was in abusive relationships, all these things, rejection. And so I spent so much of my life, majority of my life, looking at the past and looking at it from a negative perspective. And all that did was create more negative emotions, more negative thoughts, and in turn, negative results in my life because I couldn't even move forward. I was so stuck in the past. Then I realized as I went on my journey, which has been about 10 years now that I've been on my own clutter-free journey, that I needed to shift the way that I looked at my past. My children are a blessing. I've learned the power of forgiveness because of some of the experiences and the trauma that I went through. I learned how to persevere and how to believe in myself on a whole new level, that now when things happen and life happens, I know that I have what it takes to move forward. I know what God has placed on the inside of me. And I no longer look at myself as this failure, as this weak person, as this victim. So we get to choose how we think about our past. And it's so important because it is influencing your present. So let's think about your present, the thoughts that you're thinking about your life right now, especially as we're going through this trying time. A lot of my clients are saying things to me of, I should have switched jobs. I should have applied for, better position. I should have saved money. I wasn't prepared for this. They're focusing on the present right now, but again, from the negative perspective. And I want you to just be honest with yourself and ask yourself, how am I looking at my present situation? How am I looking at what I'm experiencing right now? And even outside of COVID-19, just looking at your life for who you are today, where you are today, what you have today, what you're doing today, what your lifestyle is like today. How are you looking at your life? The thoughts that you have about yourself and about your life, your relationship, and every other area is going to influence the future, just like the thoughts we have about our past have influenced our present. So I really want you to look at that. And what am I thinking about my life today? You get to choose. You can focus again on what you don't have right now, or what you should have had right now, could have had right now. You can focus on what's not going right now, what's uncomfortable, what's challenging, or you can choose to shift perspectives and say, this is where I am right now. This is my reality. And here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's how I'm going to think about it. Here's how I'm going to speak about it. Here's the actions that I'm going to take. And when you do that, when you create that shift from clutter to clarity, you're able to now influence your future in a more positive way. So if you think about everything you're experiencing now, how can you think a little bit differently about it? I know because this is something that most of us have never, ever been through. We've never experienced a pandemic. I know for myself personally, I've never been on lockdown. I've never been in a position where I couldn't go get food or groceries from the store because everything's sold out. I've never been in a position where I had to worry about toilet tissue, right? I've never been in a position of worrying about my finances or having to homeschool my children if that's not something that you've chosen to do prior to this. So we're all experiencing something new and different. And so we get to choose how we want to look at it. So for myself, I've decided, you know what? I know that thinking negatively, worrying, stressing, or operating from a spirit of fear is not going to serve me in this season. So how can I look at this differently? This is an opportunity for me to be more creative. This is an opportunity for me to get closer to my children. This is an opportunity for me to grow my relationship. This is an opportunity for me to serve the world in a greater way. As a coach, this is an opportunity because I'm not really traveling. I'm not, spending money on gas. I'm not going out for entertainment. So this is a moment where I can save money. Just choosing to look at the positive, because that's really your only option. Is you're either going to see the negative or the positive. And I encourage you, if you want to have a clutter-free mind, if you want to experience more peace and happiness and success, then you have to start looking at things from a positive perspective. Now, I want you to think about the future, right? Right now, everything that you're thinking, you're speaking, you're doing is dictating what's going to show up for you in the future. Everything that you thought about yesterday has created something in this moment today. So when you think about your future, what do you want it to be? Most of us don't want it to be a repeat of the past, and we would like it to be at a new level than where we are right now in the present. But in order for that to happen, you're going to have to clean out that thought drama. You're going to have to get a hold of your mind and start to master your mind so you can manage your emotions. Start thinking about your future. How do you want that to look for you? When we come out of this, I've been talking about this with my clients. I've asked every single one of them this question, and I'm going to ask you the same question. How do you want to come out of this pandemic? How do you want to come out of it? Do you want to come out of it frustrated? Do you want to come out of it angry? Do you want to come out of it bitter or resentful? Do you want to come out of it depressed or anxious? Or do you want to come out of this pandemic with clarity? Do you want to come out of it confident? Do you want to come out of it strong? Do you want to come out of it whole? Because what I believe is that there's going to be two sets of people that come out of this pandemic. The set of people that come out of it whole and complete, even if they didn't enter the pandemic. Hear me. Even if you didn't enter the pandemic whole and complete, there were pieces of you that felt broken. There were parts of you that you might have been struggling with, things that you didn't know, things that you were feeling stuck, feeling like you were struggling, feeling like you were settling. Because of a challenge like this 30 days, you can't come out of these 30 days the same. There's just no way you watch a 30-day redemption challenge and come out the same. So there's going to be a group of people that come out of this thing whole and complete, better than they were even before this pandemic started. And then there's going to be the people that come out of this fragmented and frazzled. There's going to be the people that come out of this angry, and they're going to blame society. They're going to blame the president. They're going to blame the sickness, and they're going to blame the virus as to why they're not where they want to be or where they need to be, even if it's just mentally, right? So you have to choose, who do you want to be in the future? When you come out of this, who do you want to be and where do you want to see yourself? Right now is the time, and not to get off a little tangent, but it really does have to do with your thought process and your mindset. Now's the time to sharpen your skills, to finish the books that you never finished, or to start the books that you never started. Now's the time to set up a routine and a ritual that every day I'm going to listen to something like this challenge and be empowered and be encouraged, get some inspiration. I'm going to be journaling every day, new ideas, new downloads that God is giving me. I'm going to go after the goals and the dreams that I had to put on the back burner because I didn't have the time or the energy. You know, I really want you to think about, how do you want to come out of this thing? Because your thought process and your thought life and your mindset is going to dictate what, not only when you come out of this looks like, but as you're moving forward, what your life is going to look like. And so what I want to do right now is take a moment for us to just do some reframing. Just reframing the way that we're looking at our past, the way that we're looking at our present, reframing the way that we look at our future. And so the simple way to reframe, and we won't get all into it here, but the simple way to start reframing is to just grab a journal and to start writing out, what are my current thoughts, or like I like to call them, old thoughts, because I'm done with them. What are my old thoughts, my old way of thinking? And what is that new thought process going to be? So there's the old thoughts and the new thoughts. And what I would love for you to do is to really journal out, what are my old thoughts about my past? And what are my new thoughts going to be? What are my old thoughts about my current situation, my life right now? And what are my new thoughts going to be about my present? And then what are my old thoughts about my future? And what are my new thoughts going to be about my future? There's a lot of people right now who are thinking about the future. They're thinking about when this is all over, and they're thinking, we're going to be in a recession. We're going to lose it all. I'm going to be struggling. I'm going to have to file bankruptcy. I'm not going to be able to succeed in my business, or I'm going to have to start all over. I'm going to be in square one, or, you know, just people who are struggling with eating, right? Right now, we feel like we're walking up to the fridge every 2 seconds because we're bored, right? And so people are thinking, I'm going to be overweight, or I'm not going to have that summer body that I want, or, you know, I'm not going to be able to, you know, reach my business goals or my financial goals. There are people who are looking at their future from that standpoint. And I just encourage you to let those old thoughts go, especially after this conversation today. Let those old thoughts go and think about, what do you want to think about your future? You know, my business is going to thrive in the future. My business is going to succeed. I'm going to look amazing and feel great because I'm taking this time to detox and to heal my body. You know, think about what you want and not what you think your options are, but think about what you want to create, what you want to manifest. What are you declaring and decreeing for your life? Those thoughts are what's going to create what shows up for you in the future. Okay, so I really want you to start doing some reframing. So again, in your journal, you're going to write down past, present, future, and you're going to list out those old thoughts and you're going to list out the new thoughts. Now, here's the thing. I'm not speaking from the standpoint of just saying affirmations, let's say, and assuming that because you say something positive 10 times 7 days a week, that it's going to automatically manifest or happen for you. What I'm saying is you're seeking clarity and you're going to get these old thoughts out of there. You're going to release those old thoughts and then you're going to replace them with what it is that you want. It may not be true right now. It may not be what you can tangibly put your hands on right now. It may not be what you maybe even can see for yourself, but it's what you want. It's how you want to think. It's what you want to show up in your life. It's what you want to walk out of this pandemic with and who you want to become. So I want you to reframe your thinking so that you can make that shift from clutter to clarity. All right. So that's a little bit of the inner work that I want you to do, is really thinking about how have my thoughts created my results and reality that I have now? And then how can I reframe the thoughts about my past, my present, and my future, and bring them over to a more positive perspective, bring them over to a place where I'm now realizing that my words have power, where I'm realizing that the thoughts I have and how I feel and the words that I use are going to dictate the actions I take or don't take. Understand this, not taking action is an action, just like not making a decision is a decision. So if you don't decide today that you're going to shift over from clutter to clarity and change your thought life and clear out the thought drama, that is a decision. It's a decision not to create a change. It's a decision not to transform. It's a decision to stay right where you're at and to continue to create and recreate what it is that you're experiencing. Now, if what you're experiencing right now is exactly what you want, then keep those thoughts where they are so that you can recreate what it is that you're experiencing, because it's what you desire. But if what you're experiencing right now is not what you desire, then I encourage you and I even challenge you to start cleaning up your thinking so that you can get closer to who you want to be and where you want to be. Now, again, that's the inner work. So I teach inner work and identity work. So I do want us to shift into the identity of the person who now thinks the way that we need to think. This is a big issue because we're seeing out here, you know, a lot of people are saying, okay, we're going to pray, we're going to meditate, we're going to journal, we're going to recite affirmations, we're going to look at our vision boards, we're going to do all the things, right? And all those things really do keep us in a clutter-free space internally. And that's all the inner work that we do need to participate in, to keep ourselves high vibes in a great space, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, doing our exercise, doing our yoga, eating healthy, all those things. However, the disconnect and the reason why many of us either did not cross over or took forever to cross over is because we got so caught up and attached and excited about the inner work, because it feels really good to do this inner work, right? And our mindset starts to shift and we feel a new way of being and thinking. But if we don't shift over into the new identity, that version of yourself, then what happens is there's a disconnect and you find yourself out of alignment. Your thoughts are here, but your actions are here. Your thoughts are here, but your choices are here. Your thoughts are here, but your lifestyle is here, right? So what I want you to do is to not just do the inner work. That's such a big part of it, but the identity work is the second part that's often missing. And that is simply understanding that who you are today may or not be who you need to become in order to get to where you want to be. And what worked for you to get here may not work for you to get there. And so our thought processes need to be constantly evolving and elevating. And that is a big part of becoming the version of yourself that's going to live that best life. We hear people say that all the time about living your best life. But if you don't become the version of yourself that aligns with this best life that you see for yourself, there's always going to be this disconnect. There's always going to be this tug of war between who you are and who you need to be. And what I truly have learned in my own life, and I've seen it with my clients, and what I believe God has revealed to me, is that when we get so attached to being a certain way and thinking a certain way and living a certain way, that we really block the blessings, we block the breakthroughs, we block the opportunity, and we block purpose. So your mindset is so much bigger than just positive thinking. It really has everything to do with who you are and the life that you're going to live. And if you're going to live that life on purpose. So as you're working on your mindset, as you're cleaning up your thinking, as you're decluttering your life, I really want you to look at it from the standpoint of, this is not something that's just surface level. This is not feel good, fluffy, stuff. This is really about my purpose. This is about who the Creator designed me to be. And oftentimes we are believing in God and we're trusting God and we're asking God for direction and guidance and support and strength. However, when we get downloaded what is necessary or what is required, oftentimes because of all the mental clutter that we have, we either reject it completely or we pick and choose what pieces we're going to believe, what pieces we're going to receive, what pieces we're going to be obedient on, and what pieces we won't. Because there's parts of our mind that says, I can't do that. That's too hard. That's too much. That's going to take too long. That's not possible. That's not for me. I tried that before and it didn't work. And so all of that mental clutter that will reject what it is that you're being downloaded will then affect who you become and what it is that you create. So let's talk about your identity. Let's think about it from this standpoint. This is the question that I always ask, and I want to ask you. Who do you need to become to live a life with more peace, happiness, and success? And before you answer that question, I need you to know that peace, happiness, and success must be defined by you. My definition of those three things will be totally different than your definition. Could be the same, could be totally different. And that's okay. I need you to define these things for yourself. I need you to think about what that really looks like for your life so that you can align your thoughts with that. Far too often, we're looking at other people and we're saying, okay, she looks happy, so let me see what she's doing, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'll be happy. And then we realize that we don't want to do that, and that doesn't really make us happy. Or we look at someone else and we say, they seem extremely peaceful. I thought about when I was on my journey, soul searching and trying to figure out my beliefs and practices and things like that, I was looking at the Buddhists and I thought to myself, they're so at peace. They have this peace that I just cannot describe. I think I should become a Buddhist because I want that level of peace, right? And so then I started to do research and study, and I thought, not so much. But I did learn what some of those thought processes were, some of their beliefs, and I was able to incorporate that in my own life to recreate a certain level of peace that aligned with me and resonated with me. And so I do want you to define each of these things for yourself. What does peace really mean to you? What does happiness look like to you? And what does success look like to you? I heard a definition, and I can't remember who said it, but that success, it was just the other day, I was watching a movie and I turned to my boyfriend and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. And he said that to him, success is being able to fail again and again and again, but to keep going and never lose enthusiasm. To fail again and again and again, and to keep going, but never to lose your enthusiasm. And I thought to myself, that's amazing. And I love that definition because that really does show how my life has been. Many failures, which again, I believe is feedback, but I kept going and I kept going. And though there were moments where I may have lost esteem, I did not lose my enthusiasm for life or what it is that I believed in or desired. So I thought that was amazing. So I do want you to define peace and happiness and success for yourself. So that way you know when you have it. Many of you right now, if you were to just define those 3 words for yourself and get your thought process aligned with what that looks like for you, you would realize that you already have it. That peace is already accessible to us right now. Even with all of the chaos going on, peace is accessible. Joy is accessible. Success is accessible. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be in the midst of the chaos. You don't have to feel like a failure right now because of what's going on the outside of you. I talked about a week ago. I had a client and she asked me, she's like, you know, how do you feel and how are you doing all this and staying positive and continuing to move forward, you know, with everything going on in the world? And I shared with her, there's the world and there's my world. And so what I realized is that although there's a lot happening in the world, as long as I have my world, I can stay in control of my thought life. I can stay in control of how I feel. I can stay in control of my words. I can stay in control of my actions. And that means I'm staying in control of my personal power. But the minute that I step outside of my world and I allow myself to consume everything that's happening around me, everything that's posted on social media, everything that's on the news, everything that's going on, the moment that I step outside of my world and I choose to listen to, receive, believe, and act on what's happening in their world, that's the moment that I lose clarity. It's the moment that I lose sight. It's the moment that I lose hope. It's the moment that I lose control. And so I really want you to think about that you have the world and your world. And what we're encouraging you to do over this 30-day redemption is to clean up your world, to strengthen your world, to better align your world, and to empower your world. So that means that you have to ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to live the life that I need, that I want, or I desire? Who do I need to become? You know, this is really about what version of yourself do you need to evolve into to live a life with peace, happiness, and success. Because the old version of you may not serve you in this season. The old version of you may have served you up until this point. Listen, every emotion, positive and negative, listen, I believe life is 50-50. Half the time we feel great, half the time we don't. And that's just the way that it is. But when you think about those negative emotions and you're thinking about that, you can ask yourself, you know, when I think about all the negative things that have occurred in my life, maybe being afraid and operating from fear pushed me to take an action that maybe I wouldn't have been pushed or forced to take, and it created a result that benefited me. Or maybe me being really cautious and protective of my heart, you know, having that wall up, those boundaries protected me from allowing the wrong person in. But do you need that level of protection right now if you're wanting to open yourself up to receive love and be loved, right? So what served you in another season may not serve you in this season. So it's important for you to think about, who do I need to become in order for me to receive what it is that I desire? Who do I need to become in order to create the breakthroughs that I need in my life? Who do I need to become in order to live this clutter-free life? To feel good about myself, to feel good about my business, to feel good about my career, to feel good about my body, to feel good about my bank account, to just feel good in general. Who do I need to become? And when you start to journal that out, okay, when you start to really journal out with no judgment, no overthinking, no overprocessing, just journaling, who do I need to become? Who do I need to become? Not who do I need to look at and copy, not who do I need to look at and covet, but who do I need to become to have what it is that I want and need and deserve in my life? And when you get clear on that, when you seek that level of clarity, then what I need you to do is to operate from that space, to operate every single day from that version of yourself. Even if what you see around you does not align with that version of yourself, that is the space that you operate from. This is about, you know, people who say, I'll see it and I'll believe it. You got to believe it before you see it. This is about speaking things into existence. This is about knowing that it's already done. Think about, who do I need to become? And when you become that version of yourself, every single day, you have to show up as that version of yourself. In order to stay in a mind frame or a mindset that is going to serve you, you have to stay in that space. So every conversation, I have to ask myself, when I think about the version of myself and the identity that I'm stepping into, what would she do? What would that version of Angel do in this situation? What would that version of Angel say in response to what was said? What would that version of Angel think about in this given moment? What would that version of Angel do to change what's happening, her circumstances? What would that, because this version of myself may not have the capacity to do the things that that version of myself does. But that version of myself is where I'm headed. It's where I'm going. It's what I desire. It's who I need to become. I believe that, many of us are nowhere near to the level and the potential that God created us to be. So if you're willing to step into a new identity as often as he reveals to you, you will get closer and closer to being who he designed you to be. And so when I do things, I'm asking, who do I need to become? And what would she do? Not this version of me that's upset or frustrated or down and out in the moment, but what would that version of myself do? How would she respond to this situation? What would she get up and do every day? Would she get up every day and cut on the TV and watch 10 million episodes on Netflix? Or would she get up and work on her business plan? Would she get up and make some phone calls? Would she get up and show up online? Right? What would this version of herself do? Would she go and spend all day on social media clicking on every single ad that comes up for hair, makeup, and boutiques, and go crazy shopping and buying all of these things because she's so overwhelmed with being locked in the house that she can't wait till they say you can go wherever, and she's going to have all of these amazing little things to put on and to wear and to use when it's time? Or is she going to stack her money? Is she going to learn about investing? Is she going to start that business? What would you do differently if you were stepping into thinking like, speaking like, being like, doing the things in a whole new identity that served you? In the identity of a clutter-free woman or a clutter-free man. Just think about how your life will be so different if you really stepped into that space and you allowed yourself, you gave yourself permission to let go of the past, to let go of who you are right now. There's going to be a lot of people that don't like the shift. They don't like your new way of thinking. They don't like the new way that you're speaking. They don't like the new things that you're doing because it's no longer benefiting them, or it may no longer keep them comfortable. It may be a mirror up to them that says, hey, you need to think differently too. You should watch the words that come out of your mouth. You should use your time a little bit more wisely. That's why people sometimes resist the transformation or the change within us, because it is a reflection of what they are not doing. Please don't let that discourage you. Please don't let that slow you down. Please don't let that doubt that you can shift into a new identity, that you can think on a grander scale, think bigger, think greater, think more expansive, and create a life that you absolutely love. There will be people that tell you it's impossible, that it won't work, that it won't last. That's the number one way that a lot of people think is, now she's just high on affirmations today, or, she just came from that conference and, that's not going to last. A lot of people think that way, but you don't think that way. You believe wholeheartedly that your shift from clutter to clarity, that you decluttering your life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, every area, this is your season and this is your time to do it. You have to believe wholeheartedly, without a shadow of a doubt, that doing your work, your inner work and your identity work is going to set you up for success when this is all over. That you're going to walk out of this thing transformed and a whole new person on a whole new path that is going to get you closer to where you want to be and to whom God created you to be. Thank you so much for joining me for this session. You have lots of work to do, and I encourage you to not skip over the action, not to just be a hearer, but to be a doer and to actually do your work.
Excellent. Thank you, Angel. That was excellent. I love everything that I've heard. So I'm going to open up the platform for other people. If anyone has any question, you can ask it in chat, or you can unmute your mic and Angel will answer your question.
Yes.
Any questions?
I see some familiar names. Hello.
Okay, Alexandra. Okay, Alexandra, what's your question for Angel?
The identity work is basically the action, Angel?
The identity work is really, it's not just action. It's visualization, seeing yourself as that version of yourself that has what it is that you want. It is the inner work. It's aligning yourself mentally, spiritually with who you see yourself being and the life you see yourself living. And then it is the action. It is doing the things that you would do if you were that version of yourself. So there's a little bit more to it. Obviously, you want to really visualize and see it, because if you can't see yourself being different, there will always be this resistance. So doing the visualization work, doing the inner work, and then doing the outer work, which is the actual action, is what continues to put you into that new identity. Otherwise, you'll be fragmented, and maybe you're visualizing it, but you're not doing it. Or maybe you're doing it, but you really don't see it. So it's hard to believe it.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions? You can send it in chat, or you can unmute your mic. Okay, well, I have a question. In regards to the subconscious mind, do you have any recommendations on how people can receive this content for the purpose of visualization? Because maybe everyone is not able to do it kind of mentally. Are there any recommendations that they can use in order for them to create that version of themselves in order to help them to visualize?
Absolutely. So there is the need for the visual representation. So that's where we have, vision boards, vision books, vision walls, and things that we can go in front of and we can look at. But there's journaling, which to me is one of the most powerful ways to really cement what it is that you see, going back through and reading and rewriting the vision for yourself of who you want to become, or the life you want to live, or the things you want to create or manifest. That pen and paper is still very powerful. Writing that vision, making it plain, but not just writing it once, but the repetition. So looking at the vision board daily, multiple times throughout the day, having it in different places, not just maybe in the office, but having a small screenshot of it on your phone. That could be a way to bring repetition. Journaling every day, writing those goals again and again and again can help to cement them in your mind. Also, meditation, we know, is one way to really let things to seep into our minds. But with repetition, which is going to be the way to really get everything to stick, I love to listen to things, not just in the morning. Like right now, we're intentionally here. We're here for the challenge. We're here for the session. And then those who catch the replay will intentionally sit down to listen to the replay, maybe take some notes. But something like this with so much value, I would say that repetition, listening to the sessions more than once. Every time you listen to something, you're going to gain something new. We've all talked about so much, and then we're talking 30 days later. There's going to be so much here. Listening to it over and over so that you can gain some new insight every time you listen to it. Listening to it before bed. A lot of times I listen to podcasts before I go to bed. I know I'm tired. I know I'm not going to remember everything they're saying, and I don't even plan to take notes. But I just know that all of that going in subconsciously as I'm going into sleep, as I'm sleeping, is going to help to further cement it. So I think that it's important for people to just practice repetition, whether it's with visualizing, with journaling, or with what they're taking in and listening to. So I would say get these audios and get them, sinking in, listening to them again and again and again, knowing that it's a lot to take in. So I think too, chewing up the meat and spitting out the bone, not trying to consume it all and remember it all and every single nugget, but allowing God to intuitively say, that's for you. That's an aha for you. That's a takeaway for you. That's a confirmation for you, and capturing those things in their notes as well. And then acting on maybe those few things instead of trying to do everything.
Wonderful. We have a comment here in the chat from Yadira. And she says, how do you keep yourself on task to journal daily? I find I'm consistent for a week or two, but then I fall off. Any tips or tricks?
Yeah, so for me, I believe in, just moving intuitively. So I don't journal necessarily every day. Like I don't mandate myself to have my journal at a certain time every day. However, that does work for some people. So if the goal is that you want to journal every day, you have to create a ritual for that, a routine for that. So for example, every morning I do get up, and I do drink either hot lemon water or hot tea. I do get my planner out and write out what my priorities are for today. What actions do I want to take today? I do check my email. I have this ritual of things I do in the morning before I even really get up and get going. So if you want to make journaling a big part of that, then add that into your routine. Make it a ritual, not just a routine, but a ritual that you do. There's not a day that goes by I don't drink my tea. Not a day. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, I have a hot cup of tea every morning, because it went from just being a routine to start the morning off calm and to just relax me and just have that nice cup of tea, to now a ritual that sets the tone for my day. And it just aligns with all the other things. So if journaling is something you want to do every day, you have to figure out where's that going to be. It could be a part of your morning ritual. It could be a part of maybe your evening ritual. Maybe at the end of the day, after you take your shower, you get into bed, you have your book, you have your journal. And with journaling, a big part of why it becomes challenging is because of the purpose behind it. So when I journal, I give myself free reign to journal about anything. If you open my journal, it could be questions that I have, things that I just don't know or don't understand that maybe I'm going to seek counsel on or pray about or ask for help. There may be goals, there may be ideas, there may be quotes or affirmations. It's whatever comes out. And so because I free write when I journal, I don't have myself on a schedule for it. But when you're journaling, just think about what's the purpose behind this. You don't want to force yourself into a practice because people say you should journal every day. You want to put yourself into a practice with purpose. So for you, is it that I want to journal ideas, that I want to journal my thoughts, that I want to journal prayers or affirmations? And although you could do all of them, just have purpose behind it. It makes it easier for you to commit to doing it when there's a reason behind it. And if you skip a day or two, it's okay. If you skip a week, it's okay, because what I do believe is that when it's time to journal, you'll feel that nudge to pick up your journal again. So even if a week goes by, when you pick up that journal, don't pick it up and say, oh my God, I haven't journaled in a whole week. Look at this, and then get into that self-sabotage or beating yourself up about it. Just say, you know what? I have something that I want to share in my journal, and I'm excited to journal. And just come from a space of, peace and gratitude that I have something I want to write, and I'm going to write it.
Okay, does anyone else have any other questions that you could enter into the chat or unmute your mic? All right.
Because I think we do get into our heads and overthink certain practices that are helpful, but they become something that we use against ourselves when we're not perfect.
Yeah, that's true. I came across some writing that spoke about the power of sleep and how sleep is an important reinforcement of ideas or even a source of answers. What do you say, or what have your experience showed you in regards to the power of sleep in reinforcing some of the rituals and some of the things that someone would want to do with their life?
Right. So I agree. I think that, there's a lot that happens in our thought life when we're sleeping. And so I like looking up dreams and interpretations and things like that, but sometimes they don't really lead me into anywhere. And I may feel like, okay, well, that was just a random dream. But what I do know is now that I have, and it's been about a year that I will intentionally go to sleep, not necessarily every day, but often listening to certain things. And then I will see that, like you said, answers will show up or ideas will show up in my sleep. Or sometimes it's right when I'm coming out of sleep, like I wake up with a random thought on my mind, but in reality, it's not so random because of what I was putting into my mind before I went to sleep, or what I was listening to while I went to sleep. And let me give you a real example. I came across on YouTube this sleep meditation for money, for prosperity and abundance. And, initially I was like, we'll see. I want to do it. Because when I played it, there were no words. It was all just music and sounds. And I thought they were going to be saying something. But I was like, I'm going to do it. And it was a 21-day, they said do it for 21 days. So I started doing it. And what I know is that our subconscious mind will never make us a liar. What you think is what is. So if I go into this 21 days or this 31-day redemption and not really thinking it's going to change me, it won't. But if I go in and I believe that it's going to make a difference, it will. So I said, okay, the first 2 days I was like, it's probably not going to do much, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then I started listening to it from the space of, I realized I was sleeping better. So I thought, okay, well, I'm sleeping better. I don't see the money coming, but okay. So I continued to listen to it every single day. And I am kidding you not. I literally will wake up and have PayPal notifications and Stripe notifications and PayPal notifications. And so one of my affirmations, anytime money comes in my hand, whether it's $1 or $100 or $1,000, I always say, thank you, God, more please. Thank you, God, more please. So I started waking up every morning looking and I'm like, thank you, God, more please. Thank you, God, more please. And so then I would go to bed, listen to that same audio, and I would wake up and there would be money again. And I'm like, thank you, God, more please. Now, here's the thing. If I would go to bed for 21 days thinking it's not going to work, it probably wouldn't work. But because my mind, like we're talking about here, the power of our thoughts, because my mind believed that this was going to be a tool that would help me to manifest financially abundance and prosperity, it did. It really did. And what I believe is this, and not to get on a tangent, but a lot of the things that we do, it's not the thing, it's the belief in the thing. So it's not so much the sage or the crystal or the sound or the Bible, the book. It's not so much, all of these things that are what actually creates or manifests what it is we're believing. It's the belief that we have in it, the belief in Jesus, the belief in the crystal, the belief in the sage, the belief in whatever it is that we're, spiritually using. It's the belief. We believe so strongly that it's going to cleanse our house, or it's going to cleanse our spirit, or it's going to give us salvation. It's the belief in it that we have that makes it real. And so when we're sleeping, things that, cater to our thought life and cater to what we want to manifest can work while we're sleeping, but only if we truly believe. And that's my belief.
And, that's actually what the scriptures say as well. So right on point and right on time. Okay, we have one more question from Yane. Yane, did you want to unmute your mic or did you want to type out your question? I see your hands up.
No, I unmuted it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what happens if you have multiple visions of yourself? Like you have multiple, like you got more things than just one thing that you want to create.
Oh, absolutely. So that's amazing that you already recognize that. You're not a one-trick pony, right? You're not one-dimensional. There is so many things and multiple facets about who God created you to be. And so you, first of all, acknowledge that. Don't let anyone tell you that your purpose is one-dimensional, that you're here for just one thing, or that there's only one thing you can pursue or one type of person you can become. And we've already seen that. We wear multiple hats, so we know that we're not one-dimensional. So just acknowledging that first, and then deciding, now that I see this vision for myself and I see me being this and this and that and having this and going there and doing that, what's my low-hanging fruit? Meaning, if I were to go climb the tree, I don't necessarily want to go to the top of the tree to get the apple when there's one hanging right here. So looking at all of the visions and asking, what's my low-hanging fruit? Which one can I go ahead and put my hands on right now? Step into that identity right now, because they're all going to create greatness for your life. But which one can I grab hold of right now? So even right now, while we're quarantined and we have restrictions and there's limits into what we can do and where we can go, what low-hanging fruit can I grab hold now and step into that identity? So just thinking about that. And then once you do that, continue to grab your fruit, continue to become and do. And knowing that every version of yourself is going to require a new level of thinking, a new level of belief, a new level of action, a new level of trust, and just be willing to shift. I believe in living life flexible and with flow. When we become so rigid and too, attached to a way of things being or the order in which they're going to happen or we think they should happen, we restrict ourselves and we limit ourselves. But when I say I'm just going to be flexible, I'm going to flow in what God has for me, in the visions, and I'm just going to keep moving, then you look at all of those visions that you have for yourself, you grab that low-hanging fruit and you keep it moving, and you continue to do and be and be. There's no right or wrong way, no right or wrong next step, not when it comes to your vision. It's what do I want to focus on right now? And that's where I'm going to put my energy and my attention.
Thank you.
Make sense?
Excellent.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, Angel, that was awesome. I'm sure we would like to have more time. What I'm going to do is share with the audience your contact information, your annual event, your coaching, so that whoever is interested can get in contact with you and get more of what you're offering. I think it's excellent. Very proud of you. And
Thank you.
I'm going to share this so that whoever is interested in getting in contact with Angel, her contact information is on the screen. The website is helpingothers.transform.com. And you can go there, contact her, and see if you can get more of what she's offering. Thank you all for attending. Angel, thank you again. Wonderful. Like I said, I'm proud of you, and I want to see more of what you have in store. So with that, we will see you all tomorrow for installment number 9. And then we'll do installment number 10 on Friday. And then we're going to shift modes and get all up out of our minds and start getting into our bodies. So thank you again, and we will see you tomorrow.